Welcome to the third video in our Embrace Update series. In our first two videos, we reminded everyone of the purpose of our Embrace initiative and provided an update on progress.
Today, we'll focus on the spiritual motivation behind the Embrace campaign. After all, Embrace is not about having the best programs in town, or the most beautiful church building, or the largest congregation. Embrace is about showing love to one another and to our community, just as Christ loves us and gave himself up for us.
The sacrificial love Christ showed us is uncommon in the world. As we've been talking about in our Thanksgiving sermon series, His love expresses itself not just in our physical needs, but especially in our spiritual needs. We can't fully understand this kind of love unless we are in the Word, being reminded of it constantly and being encouraged by our church family members. That is why our congregation exists, to encourage and build each other up in love.
Once we feel the warmth of God's embrace, something changes. We feel peace and security and thankfulness that overflows in our hearts. Once we see the magnitude of God's gifts to us, the incredible generosity in every aspect of our lives, how can we not want to give thanks?
As your pastors, we want to be sure our congregation understands the spiritual foundation behind giving, behind generosity. Your spiritual care is very important to us. More important than campaigns, buildings, and programs, our role is to preach and teach the Word and equip you to live it out. This Thanksgiving, as we focus on that Word, we hear about God's overwhelming love and generosity for us. And we also hear God's calling to work together as a congregation and share that love with others.
One of the ways we express our gratitude to God is to return some of His gifts to us back to Him to support the ministry efforts of Morning Star congregation. Thank you for giving this year. The fact that so many of you, our ministry partners, are giving online or in other ways regularly toward our ongoing ministry here at Morning Star has meant that we could continue operating during the pandemic.
Thank you also to those of you who have made a commitment to Embrace. Our giving toward this ministry plan is on pace, so we can begin expansion next year. The exact size and scope of that expansion will be dependent upon those committed gifts coming in as expected, and on how God moves the hearts of His people to give toward Embrace. The Church Council is evaluating our progress so we can make wise decisions.
Even if you have not made a commitment to Embrace, you can do so now, or simply make a gift designated for Embrace. Learn all about our ministry expansion plans when you visit the Embrace portion of our church website. If you have any questions about our ministry expansion plans or about the spiritual principles of stewardship, you can contact anyone in the church office and we'll be happy to speak with you.
Overwhelming generosity comes from faith-filled hearts. Faith grows when gathered together in the Word. As the words of the Apostle Paul embrace us, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus.